Hot take. Erasmian pronunciation is ugly. I mean, it is ugly. Hey YouTube, it's Pastor Dwayne here. So today I want to talk about Koine Greek pronunciation, and more specifically, I want to give you a little story about why I use modern Greek pronunciation, more like a modified modern pronunciation. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the way that it sounds. But as promised, there's a reason why I use a modern Greek, and this is a little more personal, is less academic or scholarly or whatever you want to call it. But I remember when I was initially learning Koine Greek, I just decided one day a while ago, and this is probably years ago now, but more than a decade at least. And I started buying all the books. You buy the Mounts, you buy the Wallace, and then you see Dana and Manti was another grammar, and then you read some of A.T. Robert, all these kind of things. You bring them all together, and you become, self-taught. I enjoyed it. I recall having all my little cards, and I used to work at a print shop, and there'd be, enough downtime that I could just whip out these cards and memorize the words and put them back, and that's how I memorized all the paradigms, right? My friends, working on the other end of the print shop are laughing at me when they see me talking to myself in Koine Greek. A true story that really happened. But anyway, so I used to go to this church in my hometown of London, London, Ontario. It's a Village Green Community Church, and there was a pastor there, and he was a Greek man. And I remember telling him, all excited, I'm learning Koine Greek. It's really awesome. I'm working through 1 John, because 1 John's the easiest book to read through. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh yeah," and I remember quoting him something, and he just kind of recoiled a little bit at the sound because I was using Erasmian pronunciation. So I think I was offending his sensibilities, perhaps. And I don't remember. I don't think I could at that time really put to words what kind of pronunciation I was using. So he had me take the word gyroscope and to pronounce it as though I would if I was if I was reading it in Greek. And I think it was like gyroscope or something like that. And he just kind of looked at me. He's like, "Yeah, that's Erasmian." And I don't know what it was about that conversation, but it really got me thinking about pronunciation. And so I went and read all the things about, different ways to pronounce it, reconstructed, and Randall Booth and his stuff. And then Erasmian pronunciation used in all the academic institutions and all this kind of thing. And it just kind of came to me that it sounds so much better in a modern pronunciation. So let me give you an example from the Greek New Testament, a comparative edition, which is not available yet in print. This is my preview copy, but we're getting there. So John is the test passage, right? John 1:1, because everybody knows John 1:1. Most of us know it like off by heart, which I know off by heart, but I want to give you a little bit more than John 1:1. So if I were reading it in Erasmian pronunciation, this is how it would sound. I will try not to purposely make it sound worse, but no guarantees. I don't think you can make Erasmian pronunciation sound worse. But it would go something like this. En arche ein halagos, ke halagos ein proston theon, ke theos ein halagos. Utos ein en arche proston theon, panta di autou, egeneto, ke choris autou egeneta, ude hen hoge. Okay, you get the point. I feel like I'm torturing myself trying to read it like that. But if I read it in a modern pronunciation, now my modern pronunciation isn't perfect, and I decided to keep some things, but I'll explain those later. But it goes like this. Okay, so the same passage goes like this. Enarchi in hologos, ke hologos in proston theon, ke theos in hologos. Hutos in enarchi proston theon, panda diautu egeneto, ke choris autu egeneto ude hen hogegonen. En avtozoi in, ke hizoi in to phos ton anthropon. Okay, so you get the point there. It just, doesn't the second one just sound so much more better? And like as wooden and as ugly as, yes, okay, if you use Erasmian pronunciation, okay, I'm not mad at you, okay, I understand why you do it. It's easy, it's phonetic, it's great to learn. But just the beauty with which the modern pronunciation sounds, it just makes it more enjoyable, to go through those paradigms and to learn the language. Anyway, so that's why I picked up a modern Greek pronunciation. Now, if you were listening carefully, you probably heard I had a few rough breathings in there. And for me, it just made sense to keep the rough breathing. I did find it helpful to have that, especially when, you're looking at the difference between the article and the relative pronoun, or like for words, it was pointed out to me actually yesterday by a friend on Facebook, like the word Hosanna, right? Hosanna, right? In Hebrew, which is translated into Greek in that passage, it in Erasmian pronunciation. So if I were to remove the rough breathing from that, it would just sound like Hosanna, right? But there's definitely an H. There's definitely like a breathing, like a ha sound in there, right? Because it's transliterated from Hebrew into Greek. So I don't know. It just sounds better to be saying Hosanna. Anyway, you get my point. you get my point. But like I said, there are a couple trade-offs though, right? So when you have the first person plural pronoun, when you have the first person plural pronoun and the third person plural pronoun, right? In modern Greek, you would say umis for you all, and you would say amis for us all, for us. But in modern Greek, we would retain the same sound. So it would be himis for you guys and imis for us. So as far as sound is concerned, there's a trade-off there. But of course, I'm not speaking to anybody in Koine Greek. At least we're not having large conversations. And because I can see the letters here, it makes sense. And I can just enjoy the beautiful sound of the modern Greek pronunciation. Now, if you happen to use a modern Greek pronunciation, or maybe you're Greek yourself, how is my reading? Rate my reading. Let me know in the comments below. How was I doing? Good. All right. And here's a little bonus story for you. So going back to that pastor at Village Green Community Church, I recall my wife and I were going to go sing for this dear lady who was in the hospital, and we were singing that song. I don't even remember what it's called, but I remember the line. It was "Build my mansion next door to Jesus." Build my mansion next door to Jesus, right? And she really liked that song, so we went to sing that for her. And this is years ago. Anyway, so we told him, we're going to sing this song and stuff, and he just kind of looked at me and he said, "So what? We get a mansion and God gets a house?" Right? So that was so he was basically sharing with me a false friend before Mark Ward made false friends cool. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. At the very least, I hope you found it fun. If you use Erasmian pronunciation, I'm not mad at you. Just keep doing your Erasmian pronunciation, and I will do my best to not recoil when I hear you saying it. Anyway, brothers and sisters, until next time, we'll see you around.